What we have here, 2002 Jeep Liberty, and it's losing brake fluid. It's been topped off right now, but she is experiencing loss of brake fluid. Brake light keeps coming on. Why does the brake light keep coming on? Guy's been working on cars since I was 14 years old. I'm now 52. It's a brake cylinder. It's usually always a leaky brake cylinder. This has got drum brakes in the back. Drum brakes have a brake cylinder. We're gonna inspect. All right, so inspecting what's going on under here is there looks like a fair amount of grease possibly dripping down on that wheel. The back of that brake assembly there is pretty greasy compared to the top. See that? Look at this side. This side looks pretty good. Not a bunch of grease on it. Not greasy. So odds are, if I'm a betting man, I'm gonna place my bets on the bad brake cylinder being in that side. We're gonna inspect. I'll take it off, jack it up, take it off. All right, and sure enough, that's what we got going on. Looks like it's leaking right out of there. Got a bunch of grease up in here. And we're gonna do the pads because the pads are pretty much shot. Shoes, brake shoes, excuse me. Boom. Okay, so on this side, I've removed the brakes. You do not have to remove the brakes if your brakes are in good shape. You just have a leaky wheel cylinder. I'll show you on the other side where you don't have to remove the brakes. But for the sake of, I'm doing the brake job on this side, but for the sake of being able to see what's going on in detail, we just got a brake cylinder right there. Boom. Show you how this is done. Okay, so the first thing we're gonna do is 12, is that 12? Yeah, 12 millimeter on the brake line in the back. See if we can get it good. There it is. Yeah, brake line nut right here. We're gonna loosen up this brake line first. All right, here we are. Tried to block out some of the light with that tire back there, but it didn't work out. And we're gonna loosen up this here brake line with a 12 millimeter. Sometimes it helps to take the cap off the bleeder screw. Give you a little more room. Come on. There it goes. Boom. And you just loosen that sucker up and get it off. All right, and now that we got that off, pull this loose. Another little tip for you, it's good to face these down if you can. You don't want to put too much stress on it, but if it's dripping, here, let me show you. If it's dripping like this, that's good. All right, it means there's a little pressure behind it. Here's something I learned from an old timer mechanic tip for you. You can add a little hose here, and this is what this guy, this old cat, he's no longer with us, unfortunately. Like, this was back in the late 80s. This guy showed me this, but he says, I don't know how it's going to work on this vehicle. Looks like it might have stopped, but there's basically what happens is, especially you're doing a big truck or something, the fluid is coming out and it creates a little airlock. So that way, like, there's a lull sometimes. So there's pressure that's pushing your fluid out, and that pressure kind of stops at a certain point, and then what it can do is suck air bubbles back up into your line. And he says, this is one way, I'm just kind of demonstrating here, but this is one way where you're not spending a whole bunch of time trying to get air bubbles out of your line. Because, you know, I've seen people spend, you know, just go through a whole thing of brake fluid just trying to put brake fluid back in the lines. Yeah, it's just an extra thing. Do you have to do it? No, but I found it helpful, and it saved me some time and not having to bleed the brakes as much, not letting those little air bubbles get sucked back up into the line. So yeah, we like to think that the master cylinder is always pushing, but it does for a while, and then it can start to suck air back up in at a certain point once you lose a certain amount of fluid. I like to use a heavy, what do they call this, a Mexican Coke bottle. Yeah, it just creates a little airlock naturally. And yeah, you just make sure that your hose is submerged to create that little airlock. But yeah, so that's just a, I don't know, little tip for you. All right, now we remove the 2 bolts. 13 millimeter. Might as well use my ratchet here. There's that one. All right, and there they are. Here we go, spin it around. Ooh, it's still in there, isn't it? And it comes right out. There it is. Leaky brake cylinder. Clean this up a little more. Clean that hole. Nice flat surface. All right, and now we're going to clean up the pins a little bit on the old one. So these pins just pop right out of here. Like that. It's a good idea to take them out, clean them up. I'm running out of brake cleaner, man. Yeah, I have to run back to O'Reilly. And yep, there we go. But yeah, I always like to clean all this up before I put the new cylinder in, so there's that. And here we are, brake cylinder, link in description if you'd like to buy this from Amazon. I got this one at O'Reilly. And the first thing I'm going to do is try and put this through. Now if I had a bunch of brake springs and stuff in the way, I would just try and gently drop that through there like that and slip it in here like so. I'm trying to think of you guys who have the springs still going on. And I'm going to lightly thread these 2 bolts just to hold it in place. Even 1 bolt, just that you want to get that. You want to get that thing on there as soon as possible. All right, boom, we got screw number 1 in there, screw number 2. Get him in there nice and hand tight. All right, so that's hand tightened in place. Maybe a little bit extra. Kind of hold it there steady. Now we pull off the. You can't even see it from that angle. Pull off the hose. Boom, and quickly pop it into place behind here. This can sometimes take some finesse. All right. You get good at being blind doing this kind of work, but I want to see where that thing's going. Try and make sure this thing is threading up right. Don't want to cross thread this. That would be bad. And just make sure you're not cross-threading. You just give it a wiggle and you can kind of see, and then it's, you know, it's threaded, and then you can thread it all the way back in. But yeah, if it feels like it's wobbly a little bit or on here, you want to just make sure you don't cross-thread that. That'd be real bad. So, being that this one's tight, just kind of get it in there. All right, now before I've cinched down these two bolts, I've cinched this down to the point where it's airtight. Also wanted to show you the brake line here and how you want to make sure that there's a good gap. Sometimes if you tighten this down wrong, this will be rubbing against, you don't want this to rub against your axle, because it could cause some noise. Over time it can cause wear, and you know, after 50, 60,000 miles, you can actually wear a hole in brake lines. I've seen that happen. So you gotta make sure you got that good gap, you know, on these brake lines. They usually have a little rubber thing to hold them in place. It's important because I've seen that before. Now we're gonna cinch these puppies down 13 millimeter. And then just get them nice and snugged up. All right, now I've cleaned these up a little. Old brake cleaner there. Just stuff these back inside your plunger here. Spanking new wheel cylinder. That's where it's helpful to actually have brakes, because it helps hold them in place. And then when I'm ready to put the shoes on, boom, these go right in here. It'll take a little finagling to get them in the nice new rubber there. But yeah, it's a lot easier when you got the shoes attached. Now, if you have a friend handy, you can have them push on the brake pedal for you as you bleed the brakes. But if you don't, where a long screwdriver can come in handy. Just kind of prop it up in there and adjust your seat in place. Kind of like, just like that. Boom. All right, and 10 millimeters on mine. This is a little stubby wrench. Now normally I might hook my hose to this just so I'm not spraying fluid all over, but because I'm filming this, I wanted to give you an idea and kind of see. So what we're going to do is we're going to let the air out, fill up our new wheel cylinder with fluid, and let the air out. So just kind of loosen it up and you can feel it'll start to come out. Shot of this. That's where it's good to have a friend who can push on it and you can see the fluid coming out. Stop. Yeah, let off on it. Let it all the way up. Okay, push on it. Yeah, just stop until I tell you to pull up on it. Hold on. So here we are with gonna fill it up with brake fluid. You can see the max right there. All right, so brake cylinder replacement. Here's how you get to the brake cylinder. So we got this tool. I got this at Harbor Freight for like 13 bucks. Actually a whole kit of brake tools. So this guy, see that? This goes right here. You remove these two springs, that one and this one. I pry this thing up in there. All right, there we go. Now it's under there. And up and over. So those two springs out of the way, you can separate your brakes. You should probably clean these out, get some brake cleaner, clean them all out. You have here, this is your brake adjuster. That's kind of in the way. Gotta get him out of the way. There's a spring down here. Then you got your brake adjuster. It's kind of in the way. It's spring loaded down here. You just want to move this out of the way. So you can get to your, there it is. Just like that. That guy out of the way. And then with those two out of the way, it's nice that Jeep put these down here. So you can kind of move these shoes aside. These shoes need to be replaced, as you can see. They're pretty bad. Then you got to your, you can get to your brake cylinder right there, just like that. See that? Off the thing. Boom. And there we are. Boom. Again, if this was helpful in your life, please hit the like button, please. I guess it's sent down, yep. Okay, and then you just pop that little rubber protector guy right back on there. And you're good to go. Brake cylinder, done. Hit that subscribe button. Again, if you have one of these Jeep Liberties, check out the playlist on my channel. This is the Shaw Family Videos channel, and the playlist is called Jeep Liberty and Justice for All. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to subscribe, and why not watch another video? Stick around!